Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy, it's a pleasure being connected out here in nature and bringing this message of emancipation to you, pointing you to look inwardly to discover that your real identity is your divinity. And that is why I want to speak to you concerning how Abdullah would have taught Neville Goddard that there is actually no death and that you have nothing to fear. Now, as we know, Neville Goddard, he was studying the Bible with Abdullah, and Abdullah was teaching him the Bible along with the Kabbalah and teaching him that true Christianity has to be pointing you to be looking inwardly to discover that your real identity is actually your divinity and that the kingdom of God is within man. And that was when Abdullah used the opportunity to teach Neville that God in man is actually man's imagination and that everything is energy, vibration, and frequency, and that energy cannot be created or destroyed, but energy can be transmuted, okay? And that is why you have to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now, it is said in the Bible that you will say, "O grave, where is thy sting? O death, where is thy sting? And O grave, where is thy victory?" In other words, you conquer death, hell, and the grave. But in order for you to conquer death, hell, and the grave, one of the first thing you have to know is that the Bible addresses the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. For the Bible is not literal, neither is it secular history. Okay? And when you understand that, you would realize also that the sleep of death is actually amnesia, which is a state of forgetfulness. For every one of us who've been expressed in this world, we cannot remember when we were 1 month old or when we were 6 months old. We cannot remember when we were 12 months old. We cannot remember when we were 20 months or even 24 months old. And I can go on and on. Many of us can only remember when we were about, say, 4.5 to 5 years old. And the reason for that is because we all has been born here to have this human experience in a state of amnesia, which is a state of forgetfulness, and it is asleep. So when you've been expressed here, the very first breath is an inhalation, because when the umbilical cord is removed, you take the first breath in, so you breathe in. Okay, then you let out. So from the very very expression of our entrance here, it starts with a breath. As I would have said before, you inhale. Okay? And when we are about to exit, we give our last breath also. But this time it's not an inhalation, it's an exhalation. So inhaling and exhaling constitute life and death. For death and life is just the polar opposite of each other. So you can't die if you never live. And you can't live if you never die. So your first breath here is your last breath over there. And your last breath here is your first breath over there. So all we are just doing is changing dimension. All we are just doing is going back to our original form. So when we come here, we change form into the physical. And when we leave here, so when we change form into the physical, it's an inhalation, okay? And when we change form from the physical into the spiritual, it's an exhalation. And that is why we have to use breathing, thoughts, and emotion to create our reality consciously. So my brother, my sister, you are a breath of fresh air. And that is why you have to be well connected with nature. And so, while Abdullah was teaching Neville Goddard all these important lessons of life. He was also teaching him how he can have whatever he desires in this world. But those things were just to teach you that the kingdom of God is within you. And you must conquer death, hell, and the grave. In other words, you must conquer fear and vibrate on the energy of love. So what Abdullah was displaying to Neville is love, so that he would be able to understand by experience that all is consciousness and that is pure consciousness. So my brothers and my sisters, as I wait for the wind to simmer down, and this is just nature communicating with us and vindicating that one day you will become one with the wind. Okay? And you will only hear the song, but you wouldn't see. Okay? All of these things are just expressing the invisible. Okay? So let me get back to what I am saying concerning amnesia, which is the sleep of death. So when you're born here, you're still in that amnesia. You're still sleeping, and there must come a great awakening. And that is why in Exodus chapter 3, it tells you that the universal question of life is, who am I? Because Moses represents your birth. Moses means to be born. And if you've been listening to me for a while now, you would hear me in many videos speak about who is Moses and explain the whole thing about Moses. Okay, so if you're new here, you can let me know and I can send you a video where I'm explaining, who is actually Moses and what Moses really represents. Okay, so here it is telling you that this experience that you're having and that you are Moses who would have experienced a birth, and you find yourself in amnesia, and you're asking yourself, who am I? And when the answer comes, it must be I am. I am that I am. I am whatever I believe myself to be, for as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So my brothers and my sisters, I want to say to you, end the confusion of the fear of death in your life, and understand that you are eternal. Understand that we are spirit having a human experience. Understand that you have nothing to fear. And those who fail to realize that death is not real, they are the ones who are going to succumb to all that is happening in the earth right now. They are the ones who are going to sacrifice themselves while trying to save themselves. They are the ones who would say, give me the vaccine because I want to travel. Those are the ones who are going to say, I want to keep my work. I don't want to starve to death. They are the ones who are going to try to avoid death when death is inevitable. When death is a must, because you can't die if you never live. So my brother and my sisters, this is just to bring clarification and understanding to you that when you discover your higher self, your true self, your God self, you'll also conquer death, hell, and the grave. And you'll say, oh death, where is thy sting? Oh grave, where is thy victory? Because it is this fear of death that religion, politics, and education would have used to keep the masses in mental slavery. So my brother and my sisters, wake up and discover your true identity to be your divinity. For that was what Abdullah taught Neville, so he would teach it to the rest of humanity. And here we are, teaching the rest of humanity how to look inwardly and discover that your identity is actually your divinity. So you are divine. You are infinite. You cannot actually die the way how you have perceived death to be. You are just changing dimension. Okay? It's all a metamorphosis. So with that being said, my brother and my sister, I want to thank you very much. And I want to say, what I've been saying to you, if it makes sense to you and it's helping you in any way, and you haven't subscribed already, I'm encouraging you to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share this video. Also, I would like to encourage you to follow me on Instagram at Black Mad Guru, and I would also like to encourage you to be a part of my Inner Sun Science and Technology Masterclass, whereby I'm pointing you to understand the Inner Sun engineering to create your reality consciously. And that would be an ongoing teaching that would take place on my Patreon after the 11 videos would have finished. I'm going to continue, just keep teaching on that subject for those who are on my Patreon. Okay, and let me say it is for those who are donating at least $20 a month or more. Okay, so with that being said, my brother and my sister, I want to say peace, love you all, I'm out.